Welcome back, guys, to Secret Shopper 3. This is part 2, where all of our systems have arrived and we're going to be looking at which PC builder gets you the best value for your $1,500 US. But this time, there's a bit of an extra twist because we'll be evaluating not just the parts list, but also the cost and quality of the shipping materials included by each of our builders. We are located in Canada, so your mileage may vary, but it wasn't very competitive. Not everyone can have international shipping figured out like our sponsor for Secret Shopper, Ugreen. Ugreen's Nexode 300-watt GAN charger is an absolute monster, and it can charge up to 5 devices at the same time, including 2 laptops. That is absolutely wild. Weird voltage requirements? No problem. Their PD 3.1 charging protocol means that no matter what your device needs, it'll charge quickly and safely. With their built-in smart thermal guard system taking 6,000 temperature readings each minute, you can trust that nothing will overheat, overcharge, or get zapped by excess current. So check out the link in the description to get yours today. Thanks, Ugreen. Enough chit chat though. It's time to crack these boxes open so we can crack this case. PC case. First up, my old friend Mr. DELL, or as I call him, Michael. No unnecessary warranties or financing this time around. Although, wait a second, accidental damage service 1 year. On-site in-home service after remote diagnosis 1 year. Did they include a warranty again? It says it has an on-site warranty.
But is that included with the price, like with their service?
Is there a way to uninclude it? Because if there is, then it's not included. Making matters more complicated, I just looked up this desktop, and in the time since we ordered it, which has only been about 2 weeks, it is no longer available, so I can't even check. Looking at a more up-to-date machine, 1 year of on-site service is standard for DELL, so that's something to factor into the overall value. Also, the shipping time from our order to it arriving on our doorstep was just 8 days. Not too bad. Let's see how they did on the packing materials. And I'll be opening this with my Retro Edition LTT screwdriver rather than a knife because I don't have a knife handy. Right out of the gate, I wish it was a phone number, but I like the quick link to support in case you need help, and I really like the environmentally friendly cardboard packaging, which yields to foam packaging for the tower itself, though I do understand why that is. This kind of stiff closed cell foam is extremely resilient to multiple drops, whereas if you're using cardboard, it might take 1 hit, but the second is gonna be a lot tougher. Yep, you got a DELL, dude. I'm a little confused though. How'd we end up with an XPS? I thought we talked about an Alienware with them. It's an XPS 8950. Did I space on that?
No, I don't think so.
Unintended?
It's still, look, it's a gaming computer. It's got a 3060 Ti.
Yeah,
It's got
a 460 watt power supply.
Technically, that's within spec.
It does have killer networking though.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe it was on promo.
Yeah, maybe.
That must be it. Okay.
This is on sale.
Hopefully it was a really good deal then. Let's get these peels removed, since for performance testing, we're gonna need all the grills fully opened. Yep, that looks like a 460 watt power supply. Little bitty thing. The funny thing about DELL is they could easily have a full height ATX power supply in here. They just have extra space at the top. No, I don't know, maybe it's not extra space. We'll have a look at that. First, let's have a look at I/O. 3 USB-As, USB-C, headphone microphone, and SD card slot, and a DVD drive that DELL points out can write to DVD and CD. Single 120mm cooling fan, networking, bit more USB 3 audio, and a single display port out. I mean, I guess we have a GPU that has 3 display ports and an HDMI, so it's not the end of the world, but not everyone configures a system with a GPU. Okay, that's nice. Toolless side panel. Nice little instructions for how to take out the graphics card, take out the power supply. Actually, really like that. And peeking our head inside, just about the pinnerest setup that you can have while still being a decent gaming box. Look at this cooler. It's like my kid's cooler, except my kids use their pool as a cooler. I do like to see an included intake fan at least. That's not a given on a system like this. So you got an exhaust and an intake fan, so at least your 3060 Ti shouldn't overheat. I also do really like this kind of retention mechanism like you'll see on OEM systems. This thing is not going anywhere in shipping, so when we contact them for tech support, we will almost certainly have to make up some kind of problem that we have. So much of this machine smacks of extra engineering. Not over-engineering, but unnecessary engineering. This motherboard, for example, is the same one that we saw in the all Alienware setup, and I said it was pretty cool, and what's cool about it is it is dead simple for assembly technicians because all the front I/O is pre-attached to the motherboard and it just lines up with the front of the case. No cables. But what sucks about it is it's completely proprietary. Unless you've got one of these DELL cases, you ain't getting this motherboard in place. So the work they put into that had a benefit, but it's to DELL's ability to scale their production, not to the actual user of the system. And the same goes for DELL's proprietary power connectors. Rather than a 24-pin, they've got this weird 8-pin, and then rather than an 8-pin for the CPU, they use 2 separated 4-pins. Why? Overall cable management is at least a B+ though, with a clear path for cold air to enter this grill in the front and be exhausted from the back. And that power supply is not as rinky-dinky as it looked on the outside. It actually goes all the way across to here. Again, it's still 460 watts, so. Aside from the motherboard and power supply, expansion options are okay. Standard CPU socket, support for up to 64 gigs of DDR5 memory with 2 free slots, a free M.2, replaceable Wi-Fi, and 2 PCIe by 4 slots if you want to add a couple of expansion cards. Oh, and an extra bay for a 3.5-inch hard drive. Of course, all of that would be true of a custom PC as well, so let's see if DELL can make up for their proprietary villainous. In order to compare to a PC part picker list, we did have to make some substitutions. We couldn't find RAM that slow, for example. We also ended up with a slightly better power supply and case, honestly speaking, and ooh. Really, is that right? $1124.39? Add a cheap keyboard and mouse, we're around $1150. How does that compare to our, oh, DELL's charging about $250 to assemble and warranty this thing. But DELL also had the cheapest shipping out of all 6 of our system integrators at $0. So there's some subsidization going on there. I think this is gonna be a tough one when we get to performance. Good luck, DELL. I'm really excited about this one. We've tried to include CYBERPOWER before, but they got disqualified for not being willing to advise our novice user on what system to get. This time around, however, they did, quite frankly, a pretty bang-up job. So let's see exactly what they sent us. Packing materials, definitely a downgrade from DELL, and that's before I even look at the foam. There are very different grades of cardboard, and while this is a dual corrugated one, it's using a much cheaper material compared to what we saw from DELL. With that said, you can make up for a lot of deficiencies in cardboard quality with really good foam, and that's something that CYBERPOWER appears to have done a good job of here. This is an extremely high quality closed cell foam, and not the sort of thing that you would expect to see when system integrators are just putting the finished system inside the box that the case came in, because a case box is typically rated for the weight of the case, not the weight of the case plus a whole bunch of PC stuff. So this appears to be custom. It doesn't really matter. As far as I can tell, everything on the packing list does match our order confirmation, but it's not obvious. Like, the model is C-Series CS450, but that's not anywhere on our confirmation. Even without paying for rush delivery though, they managed to get the system to our doorstep in 8 days, the same as DELL, and as far as I can tell from the packing list, they're using pretty much quality custom parts from brands that I know and trust. Oh, did something come off it? Oh, hello. Yeah, I think this system might have been dropped near the front because we've got a bit of damage, a bit of a crack here, and then this piece broke off right here. That's just couriers for you. The good news for CYBERPOWER is it's just a piece of the front plastic bezel, which is something you could reasonably expect the user to service themselves. But based on what I know about margins in the PC industry, by the time they ship me a new one of these and walk me through putting it on, they're probably not making much on this, so it's still a costly mistake for them. Oh, hello? Left one of my friends behind. That got quite dropped at some point. That's what better cardboard will do for you. It acts as a protective shell around the cushiony white foam that keeps the yolk safe, you know? This is nice, love to see this. You won't generally see someone who's trying to cheap out on packing materials use these. This one's not that easy to remove though. They're these form-fitting bags. You break the things inside and then they grow and they fill in all the gaps, but sometimes they can be a little tough to remove. Also, I couldn't help noticing, CYBERPOWER, you guys don't have a warning over the power supply to prevent anyone from plugging in power and turning this thing on while this is in place. That's a rookie error. Never assume that something is so obvious a customer would never do it. This is an interesting strat. My gaming mouse is just chilling inside the case. Good news is it didn't scuff anything up too badly, but this is not something I would recommend either. Oh no! CYBERPOWER? How much is RAM right now, you guys? Why would you do a single 16 gig stick? It's not like I configured a, basic 8 gig system and you're worried about my future expansion.
But it's DDR5, right?
Yeah, it's DDR5.
So it's like the fake dual channel.
It's not dual channel. It's better than a single DDR4 channel, but I don't like to see that. I don't like to see a single stick in a $1,425 US system. No, I don't want to see that. I still like it better than the DELL. Better processor, all SSD storage instead of an SSD and a hard drive, liquid cooler, and count them, 5 120mm cooling fans. But that's just an unnecessary poop stain when RAM is so cheap right now. Just get another module. Overall, I have no complaints about the build quality. The cable management's great. 600 watt, 80 plus gold power supply, that gives us a little bit of room to grow if we ever want to swap out this RTX 4060. And in terms of the value, by the time we factor in some extra, RGB fans and stuff like that, I mean, they're charging just over $100 for assembly and a year of warranty on this. That is very reasonable. It's important to note, though, that that price is not quite apples to apples with DELL because they charged us $100 for shipping, so they're clearly not subsidizing their shipping with the cost of the system. Wait, my hopes just got a little lower. I was so quick to rip off this damaged front panel, I didn't really look at how little room there is for air intake. There's nothing there. It all comes from the top? What is this? HP, on the other hand, did subsidize their shipping. We paid $0 for shipping, but, this is the one we got the $200 friends and neighbors discount on. So what's 1,800 Canadian work out to? $1,338, well shy of our $1,500 budget, and look at this, full recyclable packaging. I love to see that. If you care about environmentally friendly shipping, just wait till you hear what today's sponsor, Ugreen, has to say. Not only is their 300 watt GAN charger incredibly efficient no matter what you need to juice up, but they say they've reduced carbon emissions in these products by up to 30%, and they're aiming to remove an estimated 2 gigatons of CO2 by 2050. You can find the links to more information about that, as well as some of their other products, like their high-speed 65 watt charger, in the video description down below. Thanks again, Ugreen. Decent box, better than CYBERPOWER, not as good as DELL. But this is nice. I like this. So it stores flat in the warehouse. It just folds up here. If it gets the crap kicked out of it, it's like I said before, a foam's not gonna do that. It's not gonna break and then give like that, but it looks like it made it here in one piece, so can't argue with results. Point of clarification, this plastic is LDPE and reusable, but not always recyclable, so, okay. Oh, sorry, this is interesting though. As long as the courier keeps it right side up, they actually have extra reinforcement for the box down here. Oh, wait, that's not extra reinforcement. You're supposed to get it out like this by taking out these and sliding off the top. Well, it's out now. We've got a couple type C's at the back, not typically where I want to see those. Couple type A's, couple more type A's. I see a radiator, so there's definitely liquid cooling involved. Standard ATX power supply. Hey, it turns out the tier 1s can learn. I actually kind of like the look of this system. Big glass side panel, easy access to the front I/O, no type C in the front. HP, what are you guys doing? Got all your type C in the back. That's weird. They've also got an all glass front panel, but with gaps, so we should actually be able to get air in there, and I like this. Boop. One button, easy access to the internals. Wow, thank you NVIDIA for the 12-pin connector. Also, thank you HP for putting a decent GPU in this thing. With their price, hold on, what am I looking at here? Is this the flippin' 30? This is the 3070 Ti, that's right. Yeah, they are going to kill it in performance as long as this CPU doesn't throttle like our previous HP Omens. We've got HyperX memory in here, DDR4 though, and I'm not liking this wimpy AIO cooler. Oh wow, that tuning management. Oh, that looks really good. Sorry, I'm back on this cable again. You can tell HP just gave up. Well, there's no way to make this look decent, so forget it. I just noticed this is a completely non-proprietary motherboard too. The power supply, sure, fine. But this is just an ATX motherboard. 24-pin connector, 8-pin power, all the same hole pattern for the screws, replaceable Wi-Fi. It's MATX in a full-size ATX chassis, so you're gonna have a little bit less PCIe expansion, just 1x4 slot, but, oh, that and it's mostly blocked by these SATA ports here, but it's pretty darn good. 2 front fans, 1 rear fan. I think HP is gonna do pretty well here. Yeah. Wow, look at this cable management. Their 24-pin has this wrap on it that makes it lie nice and flat at the back. Kind of like that. And they've got an RGB controller in here. Do you have an RGB controller in your comparable system?
No, I don't have an RGB controller.
Interesting. I mean, we didn't know it was gonna have this, so that's not your fault, but 2 hard drive bays, right there. Cooler Master power supply. They're just using custom, like, name brand components for this stuff. There's a final test, though. There's a final test. What about the front I/O connectors? Holy crap, they're standard. Are you kidding me? Is HP gonna win this thing?
They had the best customer service too.
Okay, we're 5th gen Ryzen. They're gonna be a little behind on CPU performance, but I didn't order a CPU computer. I ordered a gaming computer, and damn it, they shipped me a gaming computer. The funny thing is, it's not that they're not taking any margin. They're taking at least $100+ for assembly and a year of warranty, but it's just a smartly configured machine for gaming. I do worry that our CPU is gonna struggle a little bit with that single 120mm fan, but that'll be for labs to test. No way! With the keyboard and mouse, these guys are down to only taking about $100, like 90, $100 profit on this. Not that I would use this keyboard and mouse, but the value is there. And what's nice is they didn't ship me a bilingual layout. A lot of the time when you buy from a tier 1 in Canada, you get a crappy, stupid bilingual keyboard. Nope, English keyboard for me, thank ya. Moving on to IBUYPOWER. Good quality box. Yeah, I'm into it. What do you want? I am willing to bet between this box and this foam that this thing arrived in one piece. These guys clearly have been shipping systems for a while, and they get it. Because it's one of those things that we could save $3 on every system until every 10th system costs you $50 in dealing with the customer complaining about their broken computer. This is pretty cool. Remove sticker for use video ports below for display. Again, the cost of someone calling your support line is so much higher than the cost it takes to put this sticker on every system. These guys know. Oh, and they got the one on the power too, instructing us to remove the foam. I like this case. I'm not 100% sold on the ventilation. This is pretty restrictive. But how long did this take to get to us? 7 days. These guys are right up there with HP for delivery time. Man, everyone's been 7 to 8 days. You know what it is? The PC industry is super slow right now. I didn't think of that before. Like, man, how is everybody delivering everything so fast? Oh. Let's take a look at the I/O. Pretty basic, 2 USB-As, power button, headphone microphone jack, and then around back you can tell this is obviously a custom motherboard, 2.5 gig LAN, USB 3, Type-C, lots of audio jacks, built-in Wi-Fi, more expanding foam packing material. The way that they put it in is easier to remove, but is not necessarily quite as protective to the GPU. With that said, they have really good outer packing materials, and obviously our system arrived in one piece. Boy, does this motherboard ever have a lot of VRMs and a lot of places for mounting for cooling for them, but no actual cooling. Motherboard, B760 Wi-Fi, right, but which one? Is it? Yeah, it's full ATX. We get more expansion, which is nice to see. We've also got not just our included 1TB SSD, we've got another M.2 slot for expansion, 4 memory slots. I think they've contracted one of the motherboard manufacturers to make a ever so slightly cost down version of their motherboard that just doesn't have cooling on the VRMs. I'm really not sure how I feel about that. I mean, as long as it doesn't need it for the CPUs that they're putting in here and the configurations that they're shipping in it, then I guess it's fine, but, oh, no, here it is. Pro B760-VC Wi-Fi. By who? Yeah, what is Pro? Oh, it's MSI. According to every listing I've found, this is a $250, oh wait, no, this is, oh, okay, that's Canadian pricing, okay.
Still, $250
No,
Canadian.
yeah, this is 180.
That can't be
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a $180 motherboard.
But it doesn't have VRM coolers?
No.
What?
It's probably fine. As long as it's a product that MSI spec'd to run that way, it's probably fine. Sorry, I kind of broke the rules. I'm not really supposed to be disassembling them. I just really wanted to know what the heck this motherboard was. There's lots of cooling otherwise though. They've got 3 120mm in the front, 1 120mm in the back, and this is the highest end power supply we've seen so far. A 700 watt 80 plus gold, though I haven't actually seen what model they're using yet. Okay, I guess the other panel's coming off. So much for the rules. And it is the OEMist of OEM power supplies. Not a marking on it that I can see. What does stand out to me though is the reuse of the twist ties that were probably included in the case packaging. I actually like it. I like it. As for value, they've got a 4060 Ti in here, but it's the 8 gig variant, not the higher performing 16 gig variant, and they maxed out our budget, whereas everyone else has been a little bit under budget so far. Good processor though, 13th gen, but I do think that the HP with that 3070 Ti is gonna give this a run for its money. And my concern is probably valid given the nearly $250 difference between what we paid for this and what we would have paid on PC Part Picker compared to 100, 150-ish that we've seen on some of the other systems. Here's one difference though. They offer a 3-year standard warranty, but only 1 year on parts, 3 years on labor. I mean, what labor? By the time it arrives in one piece, I mean, what did... This is weird. I only ordered one PC. This one's pregnant. Interesting. This is not the smartest use of these expanding foam bags that I have ever seen. This is just to take their inner box, which is undersized compared to their outer box, and fill in a small gap here. They could have put anything in there. With how much these cost, they could have put MAINGEAR t-shirts in there, just like put a couple rolled up t-shirts in there. With that said, double boxing is a 100% valid oh, did they put more of these in here? What the heck, you guys? I mean, that's why it expanded so much, it was blowing up my box here. What a weird strat. They also didn't have to take so long. 16 days, which probably would have been a pretty decent showing in some of our previous secret shoppers, but is the slowest we've seen so far. You're not gonna believe this. More! How many of these flipping pegs did they use? Okay, MAINGEAR has a philosophy. I know this because we've talked about them before. They don't believe in using software RGB control, so they still use old school remotes. And they're not entirely wrong, because it does cost you a little bit of performance to run software to control your RGB. Say what you will about the wastefulness of it, there was no way that this system was gonna cross the continent in more than one piece. Also a company that has clearly learned some lessons over the years. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty familiar with this case. I think we've actually unboxed something at least similar on short circuit before. I think this, yeah, is replaceable. So that's cool. Power reset, headphone jack, Type C, nice to see. A couple Type A's. And then, of course, MAINGEAR is using a custom motherboard. Pretty good I/O overall on this board. Decent cooler. Nice looking standard MATX board, so a little bit less expansion, but given how many ATX boards don't even have all the slots anymore, it's not as bad as you might think. There is not a lot to say about this. That's a computer, all right. Good cable management, I give it an A. The problem though is not what it looks like. This looks great. The problem is the specs. At $12.99, they're only about $200 more than our PC Part Picker comparison system. But something about this configuration just looks very uncompetitive. They've got one of the weakest processors. They've got a good GPU compared to the rest, but not the best one. Half as much storage as the lowest other competitor. I can't put my finger on it. It just feels like it's not really configured for best value. Of course, feelings aren't gonna enter into part 4 where we actually drag race these things. Now it's time for NZXT, and I forgot to talk about shipping price for the MAINGEAR. $158, that actually kind of makes sense given that they're on the eastern seaboard and we are way over on the west coast. As for NZXT, $203, that does not make a ton of sense. These guys are down in Cali. The good news is being closer made them a little bit faster. It took only 7 days from ordering to receiving it. This isn't my least favorite packing material. That goes to peanuts. They're useless and an environmental disaster, but these aren't my favorite either, even if they are the better variant that has a bridge between the bubbles, so they're really hard to pop. Double boxed, that's a good approach when you're just gonna use the case box to ship a completed system. Hey, I like this. Live chat, phone number. Love that. Put the support number right on there. They definitely get some points for that. What they won't be getting any points for is this, the crappiest of foam types on the inside of this case box. I don't know. There it goes. It'll only take that once. They need that outer box to make this thing survive. Front I/O, pretty okay. USB-A, USB-C, headphone, microphone jack. Around the rear, pretty basic I/O. Well, it's got 4 USB 2s, a couple more USB 3s. At least they've got 2 display outputs. Wow, nice, well-ventilated front panel with no fans in it. Hey, and my old friend makes another appearance. For how much we paid and how big the GPUs have been in some of the other systems, I don't know if I'm that impressed by this one. Full-size ATX motherboard though, decent 120mm tower cooler. Only a single 120mm exhaust. Oh, that's not quite true. There's a 120mm. Ooh, it's fine, everything's fine. There's a it's mostly fine. There's a 120mm intake in the bottom. It's angled up toward the GPU. That is a very smart placement for that. I'm just gonna put this back on. Wait, we paid $14.76 for this, plus shipping, $200 worth of shipping.
And 4.6 of RAM is also gonna be less stable too. Probably won't run into problems, but you never know.
This is not fast enough to run into problems. This is DDR4 3200.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah. NZXT, I don't think this is going to go very well. It's a 12600K. At least you can take matters into your own hands and overclock it a little. They're definitely on the higher end for the margins that they're taking, and I really question some of their configuration choices here, but maybe they know something I don't. That 12600K is going to turbo so much better that it'll make up for being 12th gen. It's interesting to me that Wi-Fi is now just standard in this price range. Even the last time we did this, Wi-Fi was a surprise bonus, or like a weird thing the tier 1s did. I don't know if you guys have noticed, by the way, but in addition to our haze we've been adding for ambiance, we've had these cute little product placements from Ugreen just kind of chilling over here. This is a 300 GaN PD USB charger. This thing is absolutely flippin' ridiculous. Or, if you're not into that, I've actually got some really cute little ones as well. It's amazing how small and efficient these chargers are with Ugreen's GaN technology. You guys can check that out down below, which of course you knew because you heard what I said earlier, and you're gonna hear it again after I'm done going through, yeah, we saved the best for last, STARFORGE. 7 days from order to a delivery, that's good. $300 for shipping. Is that in US? While our invoice said $300 for shipping, in their checkout you can see the shipping cost should be $99, and the rest is import duties and taxes that they're charging up front so you don't get a surprise bill when the courier drops off your PC. And in our case, it was so high because of a software bug that charged us double the tax, which they did refund a few days later. Quality box. I mean, what is a computer if not just a box that costs hundreds of dollars anyway? This is not great packing. This is the crappy poppable kind of bubbles, and you can actually see some of them are popped already. You can see this entire row is popped, which means it took some kind of impact at some point. This is a great box, but this is bad foam. They might have gotten away with one here. I don't see any obvious damage. One of the places you want to check, because case manufacturers, they don't really account for this. See that? That's the thickness there. That's the thickness where your thumb screw is. So that's a weak point. You tend to end up with the back panels kind of bashed in and stuff like that. It really does look like they got away with one here. I still don't like it, but if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid, I guess. Not much in the way of accessories, Wi-Fi antennas, power cord, pretty much what we saw with everyone else, though I do appreciate the inclusion of the rest of my modular cables. They're using modular power supplies at this price point. Not something that I would probably have done, but it's a bold move. 2 USB-As, front panel audio, power, an LED button. Adequate front ventilation, probably. Rear I/O looks decent, solid, even. Did I just hear something? What did we lose? Oh no, that's a PCIe lock. That's a bad sign.
They put so much internal foam.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's about hard stops and sudden drops. You know, you can't account for that by just putting foam inside. You have to have an outside. I mean, you ever tried to do one of those egg drop challenges in high school, right? Okay, try putting all the packing material on the inside of the egg. I mean, they did at least use lots of this stuff. Wow, this is not only a modular power supply, but they're even using individually sleeved cables. They're going for looks points here.
One thing that we forgot to include in our pricing is they've got cable mod cables. They have some nice sleeved cables, and that's like, what, $100 or so?
Personally, at this price point,
It's been shot.
I would not be spending my money or my customers' money on cable mod cables. I know it makes for nice photos, but I just don't think it's justifiable. Our first AMD card, a Radeon RX 6750 XT. That's a solid GPU. This could be a contender. Decent looking cooler. Got some of their cute branding on here. Little replaceable fascia piece. They've done away with the giant penis rocket here, at least at this price tier. $1349 for the Horizon 2 Prime. By comparison, even if we did shell out for a couple of cable mod extensions, we'd be paying about $200, $250 less. So they're right in line with some of our other systems. We're just gonna have to see if a 12th gen Core i5 and their AMD graphics card combo pans out for them. It looks great. I can see how if I didn't really know anything about specs and I looked at all these gaming systems and was like, yeah, that one looks cool. This could be very appealing, but I don't know how competitive it's gonna be. Right. Is it even gonna work? Okay, what happened? Oh, wow. The GPU is out. It's out. STARFORGE managed to ship me a non-functional system again. I mean, I don't know for sure that the other ones work. We haven't powered any of these on yet, but this one definitely will not post. For the integrity of our investigation here, we have to try to power this thing up as is, but I'm worried we're gonna blow that motherboard or that GPU. Hold on, I hear something else rattling around in there, so yeah, we're not quite done here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
this
that
one's
one.
missing. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
One of the motherboard screws came out. You would be amazed what vibration can do. There's also what looks like some dead skin cells or something on the back of the GPU. Oh, it's probably from the phone things. Okay. You know what else there is? There's a segue to our sponsor. Are you still watching and haven't picked up a GAN charger yet? Look no further than Ugreen for whatever you might need, whether you want to charge a phone, a laptop, a handheld, or just other random accessories. Just about everything these days is charged via USB-C, and Ugreen's Nexode 300-watt GAN charger can charge them all at the same time. And if you still have an older device that charges via USB-A, well, you're in luck, because it does that too. Pick one up by following the link in the video description down below. Thanks again, Ugreen, for sponsoring Secret Shopper. I guess the silver lining is we don't have to make up a reason to contact STARFORGE's tech support for the next part of this video, where Shay is going to be contacting all of these system integrators with some kind of issue, whether it's a real one that we actually encountered, or whether it's a small one that could conceivably happen, like us just loosening a RAM stick a little bit. All they have to do is walk Shay through it, and we'll be gauging them on response time as well as thoroughness. I'll see you guys there. If you enjoyed this video, go check out part 1 or go check out previous Secret Shoppers. It seems like it should be just boring, dry content about computers, but there ends up being a lot of drama.